Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to run number 2 of the World Paralpine Skiing World Cup. Morzine leg here in France. It is slalom time, the penultimate race of the World Cup season, and we cannot wait to watch them go as we head towards the crucial final races and we determine who are going to take home our overall and our slalom crystal globes. Let's take a look back, though, at where those other globes have gone in the Super G, in the downhill, and in the giant slalom. Well, there are our leaders and our overall winners in those events, but we still have 2 to give away in the slalom and the overall, as I mentioned. The course up on the hill is looking absolutely beautiful. The weather, as you can see, is fantastic here in France. We cannot wait to get going. So without further ado, let's do just that, shall we? We'll hand you over to our 2 commentators. We have the Paralympic downhill champion, Andrew Kirker. But first, it's Alan March.
Thank you very much, Stephen Jameson, as always, soaking up the sun at the foot of the hill and taking in all of the action. Thank you very much for joining us here in Morzine. Hopefully you've been with us throughout the entirety of this World Cup. If you want to get in touch with us, maybe you can throw some questions to Andrew Kirker. We'll speak to him in a moment. Hashtag Para-Alpine is what you need. At Para-Alpine is the place to go for all the other information and content away from the live stream. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Para-Alpine is what you need. As Stephen was saying, it is fairly warm. I would imagine that it's actually slightly higher than 6 degrees at the moment, but it's beautiful out there on the hillside. I'm sure the athletes will tell you that this level of sunshine does affect what they're doing. We'll take a look at the women's start list for the slalom event in the vision impaired category. Mena Fitzpatrick will go first, had the slowest run of the morning, followed by Melissa Perrine, followed by the current leader of not only this event but the World Cup, Veronica Aigner. That gives me opportunity to say welcome back to Andrew Kirker.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How much does the sunlight affect, or the heat at least from the sun, affect the course? And also, for people with eye conditions within the VI, sun can be just as bad for them.
Well, having it be above freezing is something that makes a big difference, because the snow, when racing, you want a good consistent surface so you can lay in a hard edge. And when you set that hard edge, you want to know exactly where the ski is going to take you. But when the sunshine is hitting the soft snow like this, a lot of times it makes very variable conditions, very bumpy conditions, sometimes soft, sometimes hard, and you never really know what you're getting into.
So a slight delay for the athletes at the top, and as we were mentioning a little bit earlier on, things like light and shade can affect differences in those eye conditions that the athletes will have. Each impairment can be slightly different to the other, from cataracts to glaucoma to being completely blind, as such as Manek Gorbatska. So lots of varying different things to take into consideration. I know that several athletes struggle when it's either snowing or raining. Others just do not like coming out of the shade of the tree and into the bright light again. So overcast days can make effect as well. And these are all the variables that people really don't think of.
That's very good. Well, you think about it in a very basic way. I mean, so many of these people, they have different disabilities, different visual disabilities, and you take a moment, and when you step out of a dark room into a very bright area, it takes you a moment to kind of gather your senses and be like, all right, what are these shapes that I'm seeing, and what is everything going on here? Well, imagine that times 10 or times 1,000 or times 100. These athletes are having the same situation, except for they're having it on an even more micro level, because they're going through shadows and they're going through light, so they're having to adjust to that consistently.
Men and Jen, it really is a dream team. Former guide of Millie Knight, Jen Kehoe, missed out on Sochi. It's not just the athletes that miss out through injuries, even the guides can miss out as well, and they put that right a year, or just over a year ago, in a couple of days. It was the day that these two were successful in Pyeongchang. An amazing gold medal moment. The scenes of these two jubilant in the winners area will never be forgotten, and it is important to have that trust level. For some of them it takes quite a few years. These two just seem to click straight away.
They click straight away, and you know, they're both very athletic, about the same size, and they both have good communication instincts, and that makes a huge difference. You know, when you have to trust the person in front of you that it's leading you down a mountain, and when it comes down to it, I think Minna Fitzpatrick, you know, especially at her young age, has so much potential, and has a, especially after this year with the challenge being brought up by Veronica Agner. I think that's going to push Minna to be even better than she has been in these past few years.
So Fitzpatrick went 54.41 this morning. Her combined time, that's the two runs together, will be 1:48.82. She's not had the best of times with the slalom. The back end of La Molina wasn't great for her, and we started off in third position from this morning as well.
Well, it's a possibility she could move up, and with these conditions ever so changing between every run, it's going to be getting more and more difficult on that course.
Now, next up from Australia, Melissa Perrine, very experienced athlete indeed. Her guide is Bobby Kelly. It's a brand new partnership for these two. He did bring them World Championship success, so a partnership that's clearly worked. Mel will take time off after this season and go back to her job as a physiotherapist. I think Bobby's got a job on a, funnily enough, on a ski course somewhere. That seems quite apt, yep, as a ski instructor. So the two of them will take time out. Oh, Perrine goes out now. She's in some pain there.
Are you okay?
Uh-oh, something seemed to have happened there with her knee. It looks like she caught her uphill edge, and those conditions, you know, being challenging just like that, unfortunately just kind of threw her out of the course and injured. It seems like she might have had an outside knee injury, maybe ACL. There's really no telling at this point. I mean, you can hear she's very clearly injured, but you know, hopefully she'll be all right, be able to continue her season, and we'll try to keep you guys updated as we get any more information about how she's doing.
It is a sport where injuries are prevalent. It does happen, and it happens to the high profile as well as the youngsters coming through. talk to me about Tyler Walker, for instance, in Sochi, airlifted from the side. There's a guy that took some huge bumps during his time as a sit skier. It does happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most prevalent crashes in Paralympic sport today. I mean, that's, unfortunately, I say that's why a lot of people watch this sport, is because of Tyler Walker's crash. More people know about him than most of the other athletes, and I think the important thing to notice about that crash is that, yes, it's brutal, yes, it's hard, and, it put him out for a time, but he came back strong, and, he podiumed in the Paralympics. He was able to get his medals, and it took him time, it took him consistency to come back, but he was able to do it, and he was able to face that fear, and to face the challenge, and to face the failure, and he was able to overcome it, and that's a lot of what this sport is about, because when you're out there, you have to overcome, the challenges of the snow, you have to overcome the challenges of your disability, you have to overcome the challenges of the course, of Mother Nature, and you have to be able to still put down a good race at the same time.
Well, we'll hope that Malparine isn't too badly injured, but there you can see that there is a real concern with Bobby Kelly just on the right-hand side. Christian Geiger. Now, we're going to look back through this. Andrew, talk about what you see here in this replay. This is Perrine coming into this left-hander, and it's just there.
You can see right where she got over her outside knee. So that's where those variable conditions come into play. I think she just got a little bit unbalanced, and then she hit that outside edge, and she high-sided. But I think that snow, she hit the edge of that snow right there, and that just threw her knee in the opposite direction. So her knee's going one way, her body's going the other, and that just puts a lot of pressure on the outside of her knee, and it looked like it might have caused a little bit of damage right there.
A few concerned faces all around. There is a big screen showing the action here at the venue, people being able to watch on, and everybody just watched that replay, and a few winces from the crowd. A lot of us, I've done it, I've done it playing football. A lot of people know what that pain feels like. Knee injuries, elbow injuries, they're not nice, and we do wish Malparine all the very best. As I say, 30 years of age at the moment. Mel is certainly having an enjoyable couple of years. A couple of times she's really pushed on the door, and multiple World Championship gold medalists. Had a great time in 2015. Didn't do the Worlds in Televisio in 2017, but again picked up gold in Kranjska Gora and the Slalom World Champions. Now again, if you want to get in touch with us, use the hashtag #ParaAlpine. Let's have that message come through to us. You want to send us a tweet, you can maybe even ask questions of Andrew whilst he's with us in the commentary box. So again, use the hashtag #ParaAlpine. If you've got anything you want to point out to us, then please do let us know. Okay, if you're just joining us, we do have a delay here, an injury to Malparine, the second runner of the second session, so it's fairly early, and you can see the stretchers there, and nobody wants to see that in any sport. Yeah,
you really don't want to see the stretcher. If she can't leave the mountain of her own power, then she's probably pretty badly injured. And on the outside area of that knee, unfortunately it's so common in ski racing because there's so many different adaptations you have to do when coming down the course, and especially on a day like today when the conditions are just so variable. She hit that outside slough of soft snow around the edges of the gate, and it popped her knee in the wrong direction, and she high-sided, and unfortunately she's having to take the stretcher and the sled down, but here's to hoping she will be all right. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Malparine had that knee injury coming in here, but I feel like she'll be okay. She's a tough lady. She was fixing to take some time off anyway, so it'll give her some good time to recover. And I have faith if anyone can do it, she can come back strong. She's a very positive individual, and with a guy like Bobby Kelly,
she's a really big character on this circuit,
yeah, she
everybody
really
kind
is.
of knows. Everybody knows Mal. Everybody knows about her and what she's all about. So yeah, again, we're wishing her all the very best. It was an awkward one. It was a tough one. Let's go downstairs then. We'll talk to Stephen Jameson. Let's see who he's got.
Yeah, down at the finish. Really sad news by the look of what's going on upstairs with Mel Perrine. But I'm joined by Menna and Jen, who is in high spirits nevertheless. Guys, it's always a horrible moment when someone gets injured, especially you guys. It's really close as well. We're hoping everything's going to be okay, of course.
Yeah, it's devastating when you see one of your competitors fall and anyway, but then when you find out that they've probably hurt themselves possibly quite seriously, you always know how close you are to doing that, so it does hit home quite a lot. But we wish them, wish Mel well and hope so whatever it is isn't too serious.
Yeah, for sure. And let's move on from it a little bit because I want to talk about you guys. A fantastic second run. I know the first one, don't think you were too happy with, but was the second one a little bit better for you?
Yeah, definitely. We able to put down a solid first run, but in the second run we really went for it and let the skis run even on the steep, and that's all you can do. And yeah, we really hope that Mel and Bobby are good to ski tomorrow, and yeah, hopefully they come back.
Yeah, for sure. There's a big British contingent here. I think you guys have brought your entire extended circles with you. It's almost like a social network you've put together down here. It's how nice is it not just to have them here, but just to be around them, like off the slope. It almost feels like a holiday for you two.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like in between the races, I was with my auntie and my really good friends for a cup of tea, just chilling out in between. And
how very British.
Definitely. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and to have their support is amazing, and everyone's support back home. Yeah.
And Jen, you called Samson the dog a TV tart earlier on because once again he made his way onto the big screen here. Not only humans but animals here as well, and a lot of them from your end as well. How nice is it?
Yeah, it's great. As Menna said, having the support from back home is brilliant. But actually, so my middle brother is here, who didn't come out to Pyeongchang to watch it. So it's actually the first time that him and his wife Tracy have been here to watch us ski, and I think they're loving it. And just making the most of the nice weather. It does feel a bit like a holiday season. You know, it's end of season, getting ready to finish up and hopefully finish up on a high.
Well, this is why we've got the chairs out. We thought we'd let you guys put your feet up after a very long season.
Can I just say your snow fur for today is significantly smaller than yesterday. It's a bit cosy.
I am aware. I am aware. We did try and hit up a furniture shop, but we did what we could. And you guys love being cozy anyway, so it's fine. Guys, congrats on the second run, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow as well.
Thank you very much.
Alan, Andrew, it's back to you.
Yeah, we were just ploughing our way through the, see what I did there, snow joke, ploughing our way through the stats that we've got in front of us. Menna Fitzpatrick and Jennifer Kehoe have gone 54-41 in both runs, exactly the same time.
Yeah, you couldn't do that if you tried.
You couldn't do it, could you?
No.
Absolutely. If somebody wrote down a singular time and said hit that twice, it would be very, very hard to do. Well, that's exactly what they've managed, which is why they have 148.82. Now, this is Veronica Agner. Talked about this a little bit earlier on, and I'll come back to this for those that perhaps weren't listening this morning and watching on. Having to wait is just as big and a significant mind game as anything else on the tour, isn't it? Because you're ready to go.
Well, yes.
And then stop.
It's a huge mental game, first off. And then secondly, the sun is beating down on that course, and it's changing the course consistently. Changing those conditions makes it a lot more difficult when going from the top to the bottom.
We're going to take another look back at why we have a delay. If you're just joining us this afternoon, then apologies for the delay. Melissa Perrine from Australia with her guy Bobby Kelly were second to go, and this is what has just happened. Well,
and you can
jinxed
see
into this right turn, and
right
keep an eye on her
here,
left knee there.
She hits the snow and it just pops at the wrong direction, and she wasn't going very fast like that. It's slalom, but at the same time, like, that could still end up being a very serious injury. You got your body weight moving one way, and then you have your knee stopping in place. And we can just only hope that it isn't a break and that it isn't needing of surgery, but that she'll be able to continue. And then, coming up with Veronica Agner here, we're looking into some different conditions, even from the first racer to this third racer, because there's been such a delay with Melissa. The course is going to be a lot softer. There's going to be a lot more snow pushed out on those edges, so speed is going to be quite different and quite variable.
How important are your coaches on the sides now? Because information needs to pass all the way up to you at the start. Because, like you say, those changes are happening. They're the ones who are spotting that. Can they still influence your run even after a delay?
Oh, they will influence the runs greatly. I can promise you that, because there's going to be holes that are forming in this course with the soft snow where the sun is beating down. There's going to be ruts. There's going to be piles of snow. There's going to be a lot of different variable changes, and the coaches call that out, and that's where inspection comes in, because you get a chance to inspect the course prior to running it.
Great round of applause at the bottom, by the way. Everybody is clapping their hands for Mel Perrine, who has just made her way to the bottom of the course on that stretcher. So people at the bottom, lots of respect for the athletes. And, we're here in a ski resort. At the end of the day, there are people here who've probably popped their knee, have fallen over and hurt their back, their arms, their legs, their head, whatever. So there's a lot of respect out there for those people, because a lot of them will have done that, even on a smaller scale, just out with the family. I saw a lady the other day being helped to the table by her husband because, she'd obviously had a fall. But
it's part of the sport.
It is
That's
part
for
of
certain.
the sport. Now, youngsters are part of the sport. Up-and-comers are part of the sport. Veronica Eigner in the race to win a World Cup Globe for slalom in the very first time of asking as well. Don't forget, this is her World Cup season debut, and she is well on course, especially now with the injury for Perrine. It's all down to whether Minna Fitzpatrick can close down, and we know that Eigner had a near on or just over 4-second lead this morning. This is a great debut season.
It really is a great debut season, and you know what, she has so much to look forward to, being such a young athlete. And look at that, increasing her lead by 2 seconds in the first half of the course. Coming down, I wouldn't be surprised without any large mistakes if she's able to take the lead right here. And leading the World Cup Globe and having her first real season and then being able to accomplish a Globe is something pretty substantial. She's going to be proud of that.
I think those at the World Championships were lucky she was still 15 and couldn't enter, because she looks in great form. Doesn't miss a gate, gets it through 7:35 quicker, 1:41.47. The head goes back. The sheer delight is clear to see. And let's take a look at the finishing standings then. Veronica Eigner takes it from Minna Fitzpatrick, the young Austrian, in 1:41.47. She'll be invited over to the comfy chair. Minna Fitzpatrick has been sat there for a little while. The leader box can be a soul-destroying place, can't it? You can be in there for a little while, and then all of a sudden somebody else comes and takes your chair
right
away
from you.
So, there you can see Jen Kehoe just waiting for Minna Fitzpatrick, and our interviewer Stephen Jameson is just waiting to get the Eigners into the interview area, and I'm sure we'll hear from them in just a matter of moments.
And again, with the conditions today, it's so warm out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see the course really take a movement from the way it is now to the way it will be towards the male racers and even definitely the sit skiers. It'll change consistently.
Let's go and hear from Stephen Jameson.
Okay, down at the finish line, a little bit of chaos going on down here, but I'm with the winner, Veronica Eigner. Veronica, congratulations. You guys have won by such a long distance there. How did the ski feel today?
The feeling was very good. The slope was a bit little hard and a little soft, and I like this. But Lisa is sick, and but I'm first, and this is crazy.
Yeah, you guys have done such a good job, especially with Liz not feeling very well. And talk to me a little bit about the trust between you guys, because obviously you already have a very close relationship, being sisters. How nice is it to ski with a family member, not just a friend?
Yeah, Liz is my sister, and this is very good for the feeling, because I can't Lizzie 16 years, and the combination is very good.
Veronica, look, congratulations. That red bib I don't think is going to go anywhere else at this rate. You are a slalom leader and our winner today. Congrats.
Thanks.
Andrew, back to you.
Thank you very much, Stephen, with a lady that's getting used to being in the leader box and being interviewed because she's won races, and she'll be more confident each and every passing race she does. The women's standing event then. Anna Maria Rieder might be the surprise name in that top three. Frédéric Turgeon, leader of the standing event, would have expected to have been much higher, not let alone quicker in the standings. Anna Ramsey is in there as well. Could be a very interesting finish in the second run. Marie Bochet, Andrew, exactly where you expect to see her. First up then, Ami Kondo, bronze medalist in the World Championships in Slalom. Delighted bronze medal as well. Her little face just lit up the entire building.
She was super excited, and you know, she's a great racer, and she's just started here on the World Cup circuit, and speed definitely seems to be her forte. Slalom really isn't her favorite, but she's consistent, and she's getting from top to bottom, and she's not doing it slowly. I think she's a great racer, and she's got a great future. Talking to her, she definitely knows that she needs to improve and that she needs to get better, and she knows right where to do that. So just given a little bit of time, I think we're going to have a consistent World Cup podiumer.
You say talking to her, is your Japanese good or is her English better?
Her English is okay. Translator apps work well, I can tell you that right now.
It's the future. Ami Kondo, as Andrew's saying, potentially the future in standing skiing as she comes to the bottom. No issue with the course. She's trying to gain a little extra edge at the bottom. 2 minutes 28 is the time. The rest now have to get somewhere near. Her first run was inside a minute. This second run just outside, 60.57 for those of you that want to know the actual run time. Binta Schmidt of Switzerland, factor time of 95.97. Talk to us about the fact that Binta doesn't use any ski balls. How much of a difference does that make to a standing skier?
It makes the largest difference, especially off the start and then when coming to block the gates. So you'll notice her body position has to be quite a bit differently, and a lot of times putting yourself in a different body position a lot of times means that your ski is going to be in a different position as well, and that might not be as fast, or it could be faster. And then there's the start. Pushing out of the start gate when you have poles, it gives you a couple second head start, which really makes a pretty big difference. Probably about 1.6% of a difference, as you can see right here. But Bigna, as far as talent goes, I think she has everything it takes to really be a good, consistent finisher and podiumer. The issue right now is she's still in school, and she's still taking a lot of time with school, and that's taking a lot of time away from her training.
The Swiss 22-year-old comes towards the line. Her time will be 2:03.50. So Hondo has done exactly what she needs to do. You want to get yourself up a position at least. That's the bare minimum when you start that second run, isn't it? You start thinking, right, I want to go up at least one.
That's right. You want to move forward. And after your first run, you definitely want to put it down in the second run. And that's what Ami Hondo did. She went for it.
Celine Dero-Allier. I know Andrew's been practicing that all lunchtime. So Dero-Allier is back on course. A World Cup debut. We were remarking on this morning that she's never skied at a World Cup before. Here she is in Morzine. It's very different to a lot of the World Cups. The big presence of French flags at the bottom probably would have added to the nerves for Celine, but certainly came up with a decent run this morning. 59.38 wasn't too shabby at all.
For having a World Cup, especially her first World Cup here in France at her home, and to only be a few seconds off Marie Bochet, the world leader, is something that is spectacular. Marie Bochet slays all the courses she goes into, and everyone on the circuit knows of her and her great skiing skills. And to have Celine come down and be so close to that in her debut is something spectacular. I expect to see her on the World Cup circuit in no time.
This is rather a delayed start for Celine. A knee injury during the 2016-17 season kind of put her progress back as she gets across the line to finish.
Ami Hondo put one down, I can tell you that right now.
I was going to say, Hondo is still surviving. It's good as well for those new athletes to do a double run on that first day, isn't it? Get 2 runs out of the way, no DNS, no injuries, just getting through the line, and that's a big thing for them, isn't it?
Ski racing is huge with consistency. Consistency is the most important thing, and the more consistently you finish races, the more confident you get, and the more willing you are to send it down the hill, just like Frédéric Turgeon is doing right now. Now, with the one leg and this mixture of conditions, it's going to be pretty challenging for her. But again, you know, she's been a consistent World Cup podiumer this season. I would expect her to be, if if she doesn't make the top 3, she will be very close to making the top 3 here today. Her teammate, oh, big mess up from her right there.
Ramsey is the one that is benefiting from Turgeon's mistakes in the first run. 153, she was up.
Oh, 2
2:05
seconds.
in the end, so Fred Turgeon goes 158.23 to find a podium here. She needs one of the next 3 to make a mistake as well. She was quite a way back on Alana Ramsey, so she needs a big mistake from somebody else, does Frederic Turgeon, the current leader of the slalom in this World Cup, for her to assist that points tally. This is Alana Ramsey.
You can see the ruts starting to form around the gates, and that's going to make a big difference, especially for those racers that finished the first run in first place. They're going to be coming down with a much tougher course towards the end, so that actually gives the people in third or fourth place a higher advantage.
Ramsey isn't going to make a mistake in the top half. In fact, what she's going to do is stretch that lead to 6.75 seconds. So this is good from the 24-year-old from Calgary.
She's definitely staying very consistent, doing a great job right here. I expect her to come down into first if she doesn't mess up in these last 3 gates.
Final stretch for Ramsey, and it's nice and simple for the Canadian. In fact, stretching to 7.41. She's coped with the course nicely. Has not had a perfect season in terms of injuries either, but Ramsey is now in top spot. As I mentioned this morning, 18-year-old Anna Maria Rieder really does look like a good talent coming through from Germany. She's found herself in second. No shame in being the one behind Marie Bochet.
Not at all, and to only have about a 2-second gap right there is pretty spectacular. Usually Marie Bochet has a large gap and crushes the competition with the timing, but right here Anna Maria Rieder actually losing a little bit of her lead right there.
Yeah, she was nearly 2 seconds up after the first one, so 0.94 will be a nervy moment. She won't know that. She'll just be carrying on.
Yeah, she's going to be going for it as much as she can right here, but I mean, a little bit of a turnier course and some of those conditions might be making a bit of a difference for her. Hopefully she can come down and she can try to keep that lead.
Comes the young German,
staying consistent.
Up to the line comes Rieder. Oh yeah, stretched it in the end, 1.83, 148.99. And she could benefit now from a very uncharacteristic mistake from Marie Bochet. I said in La Molina that she'd almost had a completely perfect season. Wouldn't it be ironic if she got to France, her home country, and a mistake appeared? But we haven't seen a mistake from Marie Bochet for what seems like an eternity.
It is. She's a very consistent, very good skier. But you know what? Mistakes happen, especially when there's so many variables, especially in a course like this. Oh, right there. She just got a little bit over her outside ski. She recovered very nicely, didn't lose any speed, but you can see right here how she sprays the snow at the top of the ski and then uses gravity to carry her down the hill. She's just in control, keeping her speed, her average speed, higher than the rest of the competition, and it doesn't look like she's going to mess up at all coming into these last few gates, taking in the gold.
Superstar of slalom does it again, 5.10 seconds quicker than the rest. It's another brilliant Bochet performance. You just never tire of watching it though. Phenomenal.
Oh, phenomenal. Dominating the World Cup circuit, 5 seconds in the World Cup. Marie Bochet, the French. I mean, I honestly would expect nothing less of her. She's been consistently crushing the competition, but you know, Frederic Turgeon, Anna Maria Rieder, Amy Hondo, they're all slowly starting to catch up to her. And
they're all still young as well.
Oh, they're all young, exactly. Marie Bochet's been dominating the competition for a while, and people are really starting to get closer.
We say that, but she's still only 25 as well. Only turned 25 very recently. So, yeah, good luck if you're coming through. It's like coming through as a tennis player in the Sampras era, isn't it?
Yep.
You just knew you were up against the ceiling. Marie Bochet takes it from Anna Maria Rieder. It's Alana Ramsey in third. The current leader of the Slalom World Cup will hope for a better day tomorrow. Amy Hondo was in there. Good performance from the young French lady making her debut, Deno Allier, and Bigner Schmidt coming in 7th. You were right, Ami Hondo started off in last position. Her run, good enough to get her 2 positions. That's what you want, isn't it, in the end?
She did exactly what she wanted to do, I'm sure. She went out there and she went for it, and she was able to move up a few spots. And, you know, at the end of the day, there's nothing more that you could really ask for.
Have a look at the coming up event, which will be the sitting event for the slalom. Manny Pochet has skied straight past Stephen Jameson. He's probably fed up of talking to him. She's spoken to him every day of this entire season. You probably would get fed up with that after a little while. Stevens, Muraoka and Annalena Forster to come. As dominant as Maria's been in the World Cup, Forster has been in the slalom. Let's go and hear from our race winner. She's with Stephen Jameson.
Yeah, welcome down to the finish line. Marie, you finally get to put your feet up. How much have you enjoyed skiing in Morzine? I know you've been so excited to race this exact race. How much have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's always a big pleasure to ski at home, and a little bit tired, I think, this morning. We make a lot of races these last weeks. So it's not easy to be ready at the start, but the first one is hard, difficult, and finally the second always it's better. So I'm very happy with that, and we have a very good organization here, and we take a lot of pleasure today, and it was very fun to be at home.
Well, the French flags are certainly flying. I'm sure they will be tomorrow for you as well. Best of luck with that race. Andrew, it's back to you.
Sporting a mark on the eye and the nose there, perhaps a sport-related injury from last night in the relay. They certainly were trying, weren't they, in the team event?
She was definitely taking out a lot of the gates in the team event. She might have just taken one of them right across the schnoz.
There we go then. Laurie Stevens, you see the protective masks that these guys wear in the sit ski event. So Stevens here with the pink helmet representing the United States of America. You know all about this lady.
I really do. Yeah, she's my teammate. She's a very consistent, very good skier. Slalom is her least favorite event, to put it lightly, but she's still out there and she's still competing. And you know, for most sit skiers, slalom really isn't all super fun because you know, there's a lot of variable conditions. You're skiing down a course and you're taking gates to the head consistently. And a lot of times for a lot of the guys that really isn't super fun, but once you figure it out, it can be fun, and you can slay it, which you're going to see Annalena Forster do here in just a few moments, I'm sure. Right now, Laurie Stevens staying very consistent, doing how Laurie Stevens does, and skiing from top to the bottom, keeping her average speed up high and staying in the game. If anyone messes up, she's definitely going to be in there. And right now, I mean, this is some great slalom skiing from Laurie Stevens.
Through the line then, the very experienced sit skier, double Paralympic gold medalist back in 2006, and still picking up medals at World Championship and World Cup level as well. Now, Momoka Muraoka, we talked about the fact that Japan already had its sit skiing legends in the men's section. They've definitely already got one here in the women's section. It's just how far can she go? Certainly, and I think she's going to take it as far as she can. She's showing so much skill and consistency. I mean, and right now she's fighting with Annalena Forster for the overall globe. She was only 0.88 back coming into the second run, so less than a second back coming into the second run, very close. She's increasing her lead on Laurie Stevens, which means that she's probably going to be catching up to Annalena Forster as well. It's going to be 0.88 was the gap after the first run. As you were pointing out, that's nothing. One minor mistake can cost you tenths and tenths straight away. So Muraoka will be looking for as smooth and as clean a run as she can find, with the challenge of trying to close down on Annalena Forster. And it looks like she's doing it. She's staying very consistent. She's going for it here across the finish line. 1:51.91, a stretch of 5 seconds and 1/100th over Laurie Stevens. All comes down to Germany's Annalena Forster next then. And fair to say, while we talk about Muraoka being a youngster, Forster herself isn't exactly aging in the sport. She's only 23 as well.
Yeah, young and ready to dominate. I mean, right now she's been dominating slalom and staying consistent in all of the other disciplines as well. And right now you can see the consistent skiing as she comes down the hill, the spray at the top of the turn, and then how she tries to stay clean and comes across the hill, giving herself plenty of time for the next gate and then cutting off that distance underneath the panel. But again, right there with a little bit of a mess up. I mean, with these conditions being so variable and with Momoka Moroka just being right on her tail racing down this mountain, it's anyone's game right now. Let's see, coming across the split, exactly where she's seeing. I guess
she is the dominant force in slalom, being the Paralympic
really
and world champion. On 51.91 seems very, very achievable at this point, coming up to the 150 mark, but it will be comfortable in the end. Annalena Forster stretches the lead that she had after the first run to over a second, nearly a second and a half in the end, and she gets the applause of the crowd down at the bottom of the run. Forster will make her way over to Stephen Jameson. In a moment, we'll make our way up to the top of the mountain to see the men's VI event get underway. But we'll have a look at the results of the women's sitting just before that. Some very good athletes in that women's sitting. But what we do need is more, isn't it? We need to try and encourage a few more female sit skiers. We did lose quite a few through retirements at the end of Pyeongchang, but lovely to see a couple more coming in and making this even bigger a competition.
You know, there are, and a lot of them are just really just taking some time off, being after Pyeongchang and everything. They're taking some time off. I expect the competition and the amount of people in this in the women's sitting category to be expanding here in the next few years, for certain.
Okay, so we can go down and hear from our race winner. She's with Stephen Jameson.
Yeah, thank you very much. And down at the finish with our leader, Annalena Forster. Congratulations. How did that feel going down today? Because it's such a long season. Everyone's coming towards the end. Are you finding that little bit of extra energy to get you down and in first?
Yeah, the first run wasn't so good. I was a little bit sleepy and not very active. But yeah, the second one was cool. I had a lot of fun, and I hope tomorrow will another.
So it's the last race of the season tomorrow. As we come towards the end of the season, how do you look back on what's been a very busy 2019?
Yes, it was a long season, and I'm looking forward for some free days and enjoying the time with family and friends. So yeah, I'm happy when it's over too. Yeah.
And hopefully you get to keep that red bib though, right?
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
We wish you all the very best for tomorrow as well, Annalena. Congratulations again. Alan, Andrew, back to you.
I'm not sure who's cooler, Stephen with the sunglasses or Annalena Forster's helmet there is referencing to Darth Vader a little bit, but she's certainly the force is with her on that mountain, isn't it?
The slalom force is definitely with her today. She has been crushing slalom this season. It's definitely her specialty. And Momoka Moroka, even though she's closing that gap, wasn't able to today. And I think that it's going to be a very, very tight race coming into tomorrow to determine the overall globe for this women's sitting category.
That's the women's events finished. You're looking at the start list for the men's VI, vision impaired athletes. We'll start with Marek Kubatska, who unsurprisingly is in last place after this morning's runs. Slalom not his favoured event. Very twisty, very turny in those tight circumstances with just instructions purely and no vision through those goggles whatsoever. That is such a hard thing to do.
Oh, I can only imagine. I wouldn't do it. It's amazing, especially with these variable conditions and not being able to see that. That's something amazing. You can see how the conditions are affecting him even here.
I was going to say, he has to go much wider than the average skier would use on the course. So he's getting everything, isn't he? He's picking up every single scrape and bump that course has picked up.
No, he really is, and it's not that he has to. It's that as far as safety and as far as the gates go, it's better for him to ski it that way. And I mean, he's following sound down the mountain. You know, there's a little bit of a delay for his movement to the sound, and that's something that I think he does amazing, and he's the best in the world at it. He was world champion for a reason. You know, he's an amazing skier, and to be able to be completely blind making it down the mountain, I personally, as a ski racer, couldn't imagine it.
his guide, Maria, was talking to us in La Molina. It was a lot of windy days in La Molina, and they were talking about the difference it makes to them, because obviously the wind is whipping through the sound that's coming out of that speaker, so already it affects what Marek is actually taking from the back of that speaker. They do have Bluetooth headsets as well, so he's getting the instruction, but normally he's trying to follow the sound that comes from behind Maria, his guide. It is amazing to watch. Again, if this is your first time viewing VI skiing, this is the lowest classification within the category. B1, completely blind, blacked out goggles to make sure it's fair play, and 1:53.26. Yes, the times are factored. Each athlete is given a different factored time based on their impairment to try and level out the playing field. Marek comes in final position. He started. I'm sure it will stay that way, barring any DNFs here in the second run. Kevin Burton, a little bit like Laura Stevens, you know plenty about Kevin, although he is fairly new to the Alpine circuit.
He really is, and you know, he did Nordic prior, and he's a ski racer that really likes to get out there and really likes to send it. He's just like most of our team, more of a speed specialist rather than a tech specialist, and this being a technical event really isn't his best event. But, you know, Kevin can still put one down if he wants to, especially when he gets out there and he really goes for it. And with a guide like Kurt Grimmelman in front of him, you know, he's able to keep his consistency and keep his speed up. And only being with Kurt for this year, I expect them to only get better as the years go on.
Guiding's not as simple as people perhaps think it is either. It's not like you start skiing to become a guide. It's not a natural thing, is it? You don't pick up a set of skis and think, well, do you know what I'll do? I'll direct somebody else down.
Yeah, and you know, it's not simple at all. Oh, with the straddle from Kevin Burton. Choosing
work his way back up here, and that shows the drive and determination of a man that used to do cross-country and biathlon, and that's by no means easy either.
I'll tell you what, I have worked out next to Kevin Burton, and I have never seen more of a diesel engine that will not quit running. Quite literally, he goes and goes and goes and goes. And but you know, like you were talking about with the guiding before, it's something that really probably doesn't come natural to most people, because you're looking behind you, watching them, and you're talking to them at the same time.
Yeah, difficult skill to ski as a VI, to guide a VI. It's all part, and that's why we class them as a team, both the athletes getting a medal. And we do consider the guides athletes as well, because they've got to be tremendously fit to get themselves down the mountain in the first instance as well, let alone guiding. Now, this is Kevin Lamé and Thomas Savard. And again, just 17, so completely opposite end to the spectrum to Kevin Burton, who's 36. This young man is just 17, coming into the sport, a first World Cup season. He's had a few podium finishes. He's actually been very, very close to picking up a victory. Hasn't quite tasted it just yet, but he'll enjoy it when he eventually gets there, and I don't think that'll be too long in coming.
Yeah, I mean, especially at 17, as long as he keeps his consistency there. And you know, as far as someone who's willing to go for it, Thomas Savard is willing to go for it. He's not afraid to mess up, and he's not afraid to learn the hard way every now and then. And sometimes that helps get you that gold medal a lot quicker if you're willing to put the risk out there and you're willing to really go for it. So, I mean, watching him here, you can see he's really going for it. He's getting out in the duff every now and then. He's trying to keep that average speed up.
Through the line, 1:44.05. The 17-year-old, very, very happy with that. Second of the French athletes, this is Hyacinthe Delaplace. Another one of the names that I'm sure Andrew's been working on throughout the course of his lunch. It is a fantastic name. And Delaplace, as we mentioned, has already picked up a World Cup victory in his first season as well. So good start to his World Cup campaign.
You can see the conditions here just getting more and more challenging. Just having to go for it. Delaplace just sending it down the mountain, and you can see the ruts forming on the outside of the course. You can't hardly see the competitors' feet as they're going around the gate. You see that?
Dropping time here. So he's struggling with Savard leading so far. Delaplace in danger of losing his second position. A man that has come to us from para athletics, 200 and 400 meter T12 runner. So again, despite being the age of 29, now only really just getting into the Alpine series. He has congenital cataracts. Is he going to be in second? Oh, it's so close. 5/100ths of a second. 1:44.05 from Savard. 1:44.10 from
tight race.
Delaplace.
So close. Being able to move up that one spot, like we said before, sending it can sometimes benefit you.
It's great news for the French team. They've got two VI athletes who are battling with each other, just about as consistent as each other, and both are very new. There's lots of work that can be done with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so much potential for the future. And then here we have the leader, Miroslav Haraus. He is just always willing to send it. And such a strong competitor. You can see his strength around every turn. He just forces it into submission and he makes it happen. And that's something that either pays off big or sometimes can not pay off at all. And I'm looking to see how he's doing here. Oh, 3 seconds ahead. He's looking like he's going to flow down right into victory if he doesn't have any big mess-ups. Again, this course is extremely challenging. There's going to be a lot of different variations from the top to the bottom. You can see those huge ruts up bottom, and then down here it looks like it's quite a bit firmer.
So Haleos looking for the payoff from his drive and commitment, and he's going to take this nice and steady as well. 4 and a bit seconds quicker than anybody else on the circuit. Whilst the two French athletes were battling it out, there was no issue, no drama, no mess from Miroslav Haraus. Maros Hudik is his guide. Again, always important to mention the both of them, that they are a team after all. But look at the time, 1:39.75. The only person inside 1:40. Savard, 1:44.05. Delaplace, 1:44.10. Couldn't have been any tighter. Those two switching it around in the final stages. Kobatska comes off the bottom. Burton having an error in his run meant a time of 2:09.57 for his combined efforts. I know Stephen Jameson is just trying to sort out the translator for Miroslav.
And again, when looking at this, you can see the classifications beside the name: B1, B2, B3, B1, completely blind. B2 having vision but very limited, and then B3 the most visible that is still legal to be able to compete on this circuit. So all of these athletes visually impaired, and again that makes a huge difference. Sometimes you get a bit of an advantage with the sunshine, sometimes you get a bit of an advantage with that visual impairment with some shade.
So we'll have a look at the men's standing start list in a moment. Just very quickly then, we'll start off with Manuel Bordenks. And that name at the bottom of that first 10 is the big one. 45.01, it's a lead, it's a good lead, and I'm sure that Arthur Barchay will be looking to continue. Right, let's go and hear from our race winner in the VI. He's with Stephen Jameson.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. We're down at the finish with our winner, Miroslav. Congratulations. I think you needed that seat. It's a very, very long race. It's been a very, very long season for you. How do you look back as we're in our final event here at what's been an amazing 2019 for you?
Že bola dlhá sezóna, že čo také ty najviac berieš, že aká bola pre teba sezóna, čo bol pre teba taký najlepší úspech, alebo čo si tak budeš najviac pamätať z tejto sezóny?
Tak ja som rád, že tie preteky moje vyhral som, dosť veľa pretekov som vyhral a preto som šťastný, že som dosiahol veľký kryštálový za celkové umiestnenie aj za Slalom a za SUPERG.
So this season I won a lot of races, which makes me more confident in skiing, and also it means that I won the big crystal globe, which I am very happy for. So this season was very good.
It certainly has been. Congratulations, Miroslav. Maria, thank you as ever. Alan, Andrew, it's back to you.
So just talking about Thomas Field in this event. Andrew, you would notice something about Thomas?
He's sitting in third place right now, and in the overall World Cup standings for that Crystal Globe, that's a good position for him, sitting in third place. That makes the rest of the group, Wirtz and Thomas Walsh, really having to send it to win that globe.
Well, thanks. We saw him part of the team event yesterday. He's up for anything, is Manuel. A very likeable character indeed.
Bit of a mess up there in the first run, though, which put him so far back. but he stayed in it and he stayed consistent. And, you know, as far as anyone willing to send it, he's a really fun racer to watch because you never really know what's going to happen next. And that's one of my favorite things when it comes to alpine skiing and it comes to this racing. You know, it's an action sport, especially for the athlete that's in it, and it can be dangerous and it can be fast, and if the person's willing to send it, it's just so much more fun to watch.
Another that comes into Parasport with a fascinating story as he crosses the line. Here's a man that had his right leg amputated after a shark attack whilst out surfing. That is not your average story, is it?
It's not. I mean, the best I've heard was a freak pillow fight accident, but he's definitely got that topped.
Away we go with our second of the run then. Hiraku Misawa, extremely experienced single leg skier. Talk to me about the differences between the single leg and the two leg skiers that we have in the upper body, the standing category.
Well, it's much easier to be able to ski down the mountain with a single leg because it's half of the mass, half the distance. You have to get it to move around the gate to get down the hill. And Hiraku has been doing this for many, many years. He's a very good ski racer, and you can see how quickly he's able to move that leg over there to really arc that ski, and how quickly he's able to get it in the fall line. You know, it makes a big difference having that single leg. Really makes you be able to get over there and put a lot of early pressure right on it to gain that speed.
Up to the line he comes then. Oh, he's just outside. So Bordanks has done himself a favour. We talked about this at the beginning of the last one. Just getting yourself up a place will do you, won't it?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. That's small victories, and coming out, you know, after the first run, being behind and then being able to move ahead of just a few people, you know, it makes a big difference. Boosts your confidence for the next race as well.
We talk about people competing in the early stages of their careers. This is 16-year-old Jules Segers. It's a debut for him, and to do this here in Morzine and still be ahead of maybe a couple of your more experienced teammates, he'll be thriving from that.
To be a young French racer in your first World Cup has got to be so nerve-wracking, but then to be able to come down and to be able to beat a few of your teammates and to be able to do so well, that has just got to be so, you know, heartwarming.
Yeah, he's ahead of Bordanks. He's also ahead of Jourdain Brossan as well, so he'll be chuffed to bits with this one. Hits the line, and he stays ahead. 0.83 as well from Bordanks, so 1:43.35.
The future of the sport's what you just saw right there. Just give it a few more years, and he's going to be right in there.
He's so new, he hasn't even listed what his impairment is on his biog.
And here's Thomas Walsh, sitting in second place currently for the World Cup overall standings for slalom. He's going to be sending it right here. So I expect to either see a really fast time or a really big mess up from Thomas Walsh here. Ready to send it, and you know, he really wants that crystal globe. I know he does. And to even move forward, he has to move up his positioning.
Genuinely one of the nicest guys on this tour, isn't he?
Oh, definitely, certainly. And to even be one of my teammates, I couldn't be more proud of him, to see what he's overcome and how much better he's gotten throughout time and how much he really truly loves ski racing. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does right here.
Can he affect
trying to send it
above him? He will go top by 0.38, so Segers drops back to where he started the day. Walsh will be hoping that's good enough to elevate him a little, at
Not
least.
quite the lead he wants, I don't think, coming into this. Unfortunately, that might put him back a little bit coming in, like, as far as looking at the World Cup standings and winning that Crystal Globe, being voted being nominated the best overall slalom skier. He needs to move that positioning up, or he needs to do really, really well on the slalom tomorrow.
Now, this is Davide Bendotti, and Bendotti has suffered with the same problem a couple of times in recent weeks. He fell at the very first gate in the giant slalom event in La Molina, and he did it again yesterday in the team event, all on the deck before he'd even got past the first gate. Now Thomas Walsh will be absolutely beaming at the bottom here because Bendotti was already 0.64 behind him. So that means that Walsh, if it stays like this, will gain an all-important place and a few more points. But Bendotti coming big over the final section.
Oh,
won't
make it.
0.2 of a second. What a wonderful finish from Bendotti.
Moving up that one spot, Thomas has got to be excited. But again, like I said earlier, with the sun beating down, with this warm weather, the conditions are only getting more and more difficult. They're only getting slower and slower. So the chances of moving up here is just going to be so difficult. Martin Wirtz leading that slalom globe. It's going to come down to a lot of this right here today and tomorrow between Thomas, Martin Wirtz, and then Thomas Fiel is really what it's going to come down to, whether they can win that globe or not.
This leader bib's been a little bit like a bad penny. Everybody seems to have had it at some point. 0.33 is the gap. Martin Wirtz ahead of Thomas Walsh, but if he doesn't have a smooth bottom half, that 3-3 can disappear very, very quickly.
He's
but
looking
Martin is
really
looking
good.
nice and good. Oh, at the line, 1:42.28 then. So the leader of the World Cup so far leads for now. But with 4 big names still to come, is that enough to hold them off? This is Robin Kusch.
It's at least enough to keep him in the standings. And then Robin Kusch, you know, again, very variable skiing. Sometimes super fast, sometimes not so much. I know for a fact he definitely likes speed a bit more than he does slalom. But he's willing to send it. And, you know, when it comes down to it, that's a lot that matters. And he's relatively new to the World Cup circuit as well, only been around a few years.
Born with hemiplegia in the right leg. As Andrew was saying, it's not the most familiar names, but he does compete quite a lot on the World Cup circuit, certainly over the last couple of years, so he is introducing himself. He was 4th fastest this morning in a very good field as well. You know, a lot of standing skiers didn't even make it this morning. You look at somebody like Aaron Lindström that we expect to be up there. Kusch to the line. Oh, he leads, and it's a big time.
A big lead also, increasing 2 seconds. That's putting him in a very good position. Thomas Fiel, like I said earlier, though, really sitting right where he wants to. He's going to be looking to finish today to keep that lead on that World Cup standing.
He's another athlete we've seen over the last couple of years, just frustrated by simple mistakes, sometimes just coming off the course at the most you know, inopportune moment.
Yeah, and you know, that happens when you send it, when you have to be competitive and when other guys are breathing down your neck and you really want that victory. A big mess up right there on the flats up top for Thomas Fiel. He's still sitting ahead with positive on the intermediate, but he did slow down. Again, like I said, those conditions are just getting so much more difficult as the day goes on. Those ruts are getting bigger. The snow is getting softer, and it's just getting harder to keep a solid edge. We're going to see how he comes down. It's looking pretty tight.
1:40.22 is what he needs. Easy. 1:39.00. The first person inside 1:40 is Thomas Fiel. That means he's guaranteed at least 3rd position. Exactly what Andrew was saying. That's where he needs to be. Podium places, if you're at the top end of these World Cup standings, is what you need. Now, Santeri Kiveri, this young guy excites me.
Oh yeah, always fun to watch, always going for it.
And so relaxed. If you ever met another person, he's virtually horizontal before a race.
Always chill. And you know, there's 2 types of racers. There's the racers that really need to get pumped up, they really need to get amped, they really need to go for it and then get serious. And then there's the other racers like Santeri Kiveri who stay calm, stay relaxed, go out there and just try to do a perfect job.
Now Kiveri needs to find something in this bottom section to hold on to second, because Thomas Fiel will be dancing with glee at the moment. If he can move up to second as well, more points on the board for Thomas Fiel. Here comes Kiveri. Oh, 6/100ths of a second. What a finish from the Finn.
Great racing, putting him in podium standings. I can promise you his heart is smiling sitting there at the bottom.
Arthur Bauchet might not win the World Cup globe for slalom. He might because of the talent that he has, but certainly he'll be looking to keep himself flying high in the overall World Cup standing. He's looking very good for that title, as is Matty Bauchet, so it will be a French double in the standing for the overall, but it's very, very tight in terms of this race, except for Arthur Bauchet. He's absolutely marauding his way through this course.
He really is, and you know, the amazing skiing he does with his factor, and these clean arcs high and in the fall line. You can see not a lot of spray coming off of his ski, and he's staying really tight on those gates moving down. It's giving him a great advantage, and I expect to see him crossing the finish line with a substantial lead.
Well, sometimes you forget that he is just 18 as well, because he looks tremendous once again. The arms aloft in victory. He was the youngest French athlete in Pyeongchang, and he's showing why the French have a lot of belief in him. Right, 3 more to come, as is the sport. The top 10 always go first, and that's so that they get the best of the mountain in theory, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And the conditions, like I said, they're just getting more and more difficult for Kohei Takahashi. You know, he's going to come out here. He's wanting to send it, but his main objective here is to get better and better heading into Beijing, and he's been doing that. And I've played ping pong against this kid. I can say he is very competitive, but also very friendly, always smiling, always ready to send it, and he keeps a level head on his shoulders.
Did you win?
I did win, yes. Of course I won in ping pong.
Those stories are better if you say you lost, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fine. So
Well,
you see Takahashi 10 odd seconds behind and 89.11. I suppose Mitch Gawley's a good reference to bring up here. The Australian who tried for years and years and years to match the speed that he went with the accuracy of getting down those runs, and eventually picking up a World Championship gold medal in Tarvisio a couple of years back. And everybody around was like, yeah, he deserves that.
he did. It was very, very well deserved.
12.88, but that was a good story of just somebody who always went at it,
You know,
and then discovered the line as well.
And like we said, when we played ping pong and every time I won, he still kept a smile on his face and he was still extremely competitive. Like I said, he kept a level head on his shoulders, and especially in ski racing when, you know, failing can really get you down personally. It's an attitude like that that really progresses and really keeps people in the advantage.
And it's a lonely sport, isn't it, really, Alpine? Because once that gate opens, it's you. Nothing
Yeah.
else, you know. Yes, every piece of information the coach has given you, every bit of rest that you've had, every day off you've trained, it's still just you in the course.
It's still just you, and you know it's really tough because you can travel for hours and hours and hours. You can travel for days to get to a single event, and then when you get to that one event, you have a simple mess up, or it could be something that you couldn't even control.
Just like
Just
that,
like
right
that.
at the end, nailing the point for us perfectly. Rossani celebrates, but I've got absolutely no doubt, as Fred Turgeon looks on, that will get reviewed at some point.
Oh,
the
yeah.
last gate was nailed by Jordan Brossan. Not 100% sure whether he was the right side of it or not. The right side of the team event last night was Markus Nilsson Grasto, the 17-year-old from Norway. Will be delighted with his time in Morzine, regardless of what happens here in these next 2 slalom events. And again, we're talking about Takahashi, Grasto. It's just all about learning, isn't it? Leander Kress from Germany went out this morning. He'll already be being told by his coaches, you know, that's an accident. Let's go again.
It is. It's learning, and it's learning about yourself, about how to handle yourself, how to handle the course, and how to manage, you know, your energy, not just in the skis, but in your personal life, to be able to handle this sport. It's difficult because you can travel a lot and you can still lose, or you can win, and that's when the confidence boost really happens.
Over the line goes Grasto. We'll have a look at the official results in a couple of moments. It's hard for the smaller teams as well, isn't it? It's like US, Canada, France, the Netherlands. There's quite a few of you to actually sort of talk between and have conversations, and away from the mountain, kind of relax together as a team. So you've got people to bounce on. Some of these teams like Kiveri travelling on his own, Lindström, Pedersen was on his own until Grasto obviously turns. I know you've got your coaches, but it can still be quite a small world.
It can be serious, and a lot of times it gets really focused around the victory. You know, a lot of people focus on the big victories rather than the small ones.
Okay, so
Perched at the finish line. Artur, how much have you enjoyed today? I know it's the end of a fantastic season for you, and you finish it at home in France with a huge crowd. The tricolor is everywhere. How much have you enjoyed today?
It was really good. It was a really difficult day because with the race yesterday we had a short night, but it was really good and I really enjoy it. So now let's go to sleep and we will go back tomorrow and be there in France and do a victory in France. It's so great. So I will try to do another victory tomorrow, but I have one at least.
And how different has it been? Have you noticed a change since the World Championships? You were so successful there, you've come home to ski. Do you get more cheers now, have you noticed? Do you find people are cheering you on even more?
Yeah, I know the people understand more disability sports, so yeah, that's great to see. Yesterday we was at start and we saw all the people who come there for so yeah, that's really, really great, and thanks to all the French and all the people who can ski accompany us in the slope. So yeah, thank you to all.
Well, you really put on a show for them. Artur, congratulations. Alan, Andrew, back to you.
Love the little wave at the end of that one, and again we're always finishing with the men's sitting event, so Andrew's smile has got a little bit wider here. Alex Cairns, Jurek Slivnik, Kira Kano, Micha Weifler, they're all going to be chasing down on some of the faster times that were set. Jeroen Kampschreur, not surprisingly, at the top. He had difficulties on the opening day of slalom in La Molina, and then he was back to his absolute best in the second day. Talk to me about Alex Cairns.
Alex Cairns, consistent skier from Canada, very good, always happy. He's been in this circuit for a long time, always staying World Cup competitive. Looking to put down another consistent run right here. You know, he can move up a few spots, especially in conditions like these, you know, with people messing up. I mean, Alex, when it comes to it, the more difficult kind of the course, the more difficult the conditions, a lot of times he's able to excel in those.
Interesting one. He was actually signed up by his mum for ski lessons. It was nothing really to do with him. He was 16 when he took up skiing. Yeah, he's had spina bifida for his entire life, but yeah, he was still 16 before he really gave this a go. So another one that's still fairly new, only made his debut for Canada in 2015.
That's right. I was actually there in Kimberley, Canada at his very first speed races. I actually ended up winning those races back then. And Alex Cairns, I remember he posted highest out of all of his teammates from his little local team right there. And I was like, well, there's only one way to go from there, and that's better. And here he comes, crossing the finish line.
1:49.80 is the time for Alex Cairns. Getting a round of applause, not only from that lady, but from a lot of people around the course. Now, Jurek Slivnik has, by my memory, never finished inside a top 10 where more than 13 have finished. There's an interesting little stat off the top of my head for you. But this morning, he went very, very well. Obviously, mistakes from others would have helped him too, but Slivnik will be desperately wanting to see improvements, and that's for some of these guys at the bottom end. It's just about each race. Am I quicker? Am I higher in the standings?
You know, that's part of ski racing. A winner is a winner, and Jurek Slivnik, for being so young but still staying very consistent in the sport. I mean, from earlier this year being 10 seconds back to now being top 10 is a huge step. So here in the next year or two, I expect him, especially in slalom, to be increasing his competitive edge.
Real danger moment for a second there, but he's managed to keep it all together. He was behind in the early stage. He's going to be behind when he finishes as well. So Slivnik drops a position. He'll be now hanging on to that top 10 place I was talking about. Now, first up, Kira Kano, first of the two Japanese athletes we have on show here in Morzine. And both of them come stacked with experience. This guy's been there, seen it done, hasn't he?
I mean, I would consider him definitely one of the best speed skiers in the world. You know, 2 golds in the Super G in the downhill in Sochi, and then being able to come out here and to still be competitive in slalom and to always be a competitor in the speed. And look at this, 1.32 up, but you know, like I said earlier, just with those conditions are rising the difficulty of this course. And for someone who's who's primarily a speed skier, to come out here and to want to put it down the hill, those conditions really make it quite a bit difficult to be able to finish with high speeds.
We don't get many that are good at all, do we? You know, it really is an enigma when it happens. Obviously, Jeroen had a sensational World Championships, And as Kano crosses the line, he does drop behind. Well, one mistake, as you said, can cost you a little bit or it can cost you a lot.
It can. And, you know, Alex Cairns, like I said, he really does well in these type of conditions that are a lot more difficult because he keeps that average consistency up higher. And we might be looking at one of Alex's Cairns' best races here this year.
Nika Weifler from Switzerland up next, and Weifler went 53.24 this morning. Not somebody we see all too regular. He's a tough competitor, 24 years of age. He's, by my calculations, he hasn't got a world champs until this year, or certainly a Paralympic Games as well. So again, despite an age, it's all about the improvement. He had a big fall whilst working as on a ceiling, so it's another athlete that's fairly newish to the sport. He took up para-skiing at age 20, so it's, again, still quite fresh for him.
Still quite fresh, but he's putting it down, and it looks like he really loves the slalom here, being 2 seconds ahead.
2:19 is the gap that he puts between the rest and himself for now. There's the Langen, Svarterhofer, Pedersen, Mori, Sikorsky, and Kampschler are still to come. Like a who's who sometimes, isn't it?
Yep.
The men sitting.
I tell you what, if anyone can move up a few places here, it would be Niels de Lange, and he is very fast, sometimes not always able to keep it in control, but fun to watch him send it, and that is something I know he's planning on doing right here, because he wants to move up, and it looks like he's on the right track for that, as long as he doesn't get caught in some of these ruts trying to send it too quickly.
Niels can be forgiven for perhaps sometimes sitting in the hotel and thinking, you know, me and Jeroen have come through together, why is he there and I'm here? But it's about you, isn't it? About your ability and you getting out there and the mindset of being the winner. And Niels never stops, he never stops trying.
Yeah, and they make each other better. You know, when you look at it like that, it's what gets him to this point right here.
1:44.28, all the threes, 3.33 seconds ahead. And as you said, that is an offer of moving up here. Marcus Svarterhofer will have to do very well not to lose a place in this run.
Very, very true. But Marcus Gatterhofer, again, a very, very consistent skier, but conditions like these might just be his downfall. With a higher disability, as you can see, his factored time over on the right side is more of a higher factored time. That's because he has a higher disability, and that unfortunately gives him a bit of a disadvantage in conditions like this, slowing him down just like that as he crossed the intermediate. We'll see if he can still try to maintain that lead. He did just slow down a little bit right there.
Yeah, that 122 could have gone all in one moment, couldn't it?
It could have. It really, really could have. I mean, you taking a moment and looking at that, that's 1 second, 1.22. So he could have lost that right there. But, you know, the way he's skiing, he's definitely sending it. He's trying to move up in that podium standings, and he just might.
That's a tremendous run, considering, as you would say, if you can eradicate that one singular mistake, who knows how high that could have been. He's 2 seconds clear of De Lange, and here comes the current World Cup leader. And again, a bit like Jeroen Kampschler, you kind of forget how young Jesper Pedersen really is, and a prestigious talent, and a Paralympic champion, World Championship medals to his name as well. Here he is trying to move up from 4th position. He would want at least a podium place out of this, wouldn't he?
He definitely would, but you know, I think the main objective for Jesper Pedersen right now is keeping the leader bib on so that he can get that globe and so that he can get the overall. And right now, it's all being consistent on him finishing. That's what's mattering right here. And knowing Jesper, he's going to finish as quickly as he can, but he just might not take near as many unnecessary risks as usual.
The overall
staying consistent.
What he's concerned with. He's pretty much wrapped up the slalom bib anyway. He's in front, and that's just what the doctor ordered here with 3 to come.
Just barely.
Gets his finish.
Yep. I mean, you look at it, 50/100ths, 5/10ths, however you want to say it. That's a pretty close race, and Taiki Mori is definitely going to be breathing down his neck right here. Taiki Mori, again, been around for years, very consistent racer, very good racer in all the disciplines, one of those few racers that is always a true competitor. And looking at it right here, I think Taiki, if he doesn't have any major mistakes, might take Jesper.
38 now. He's also taken up powerlifting as well. You know, talk about a drive to be involved in sport, not just be involved, but be a champion.
Well, to say it lightly, a strong competitor in more ways than one, especially on the powerlifting side. I know he's really looking forward to competing on his home turf in Japan for the Summer Paralympics. And
like
coming down.
You didn't sat with me for less than a day, and you're already coming with terrible puns.
Oh no!
Mistake!
Very close to the, again with the mess up right there. He was 1.28 ahead, but did that mess up put him back behind? You can see him trying to push it, get it a little bit more in the fall line right here. Is he going to be able to take Pedersen? Oh, very close. 1.38 ahead. Taiki Mori.
Very, very interesting. The experienced Japanese sit skier gets to the line. He's ahead of Jesper Pedersen. Igor Sikorsky to come. Been a slow burner this season for Sikorsky. Started off in Zagreb feeling a little bit unwell. Didn't have the World Championships that perhaps he was expecting to have. But as the World Cup's gone on, he's got quicker and stronger.
You know, he really has, and a lot of that is consistency with the mono skis. He's been trying out a few different mono skis as the year goes on, and you know, with the differences in the shock and the settings and everything, you know, a lot of times it can take you 2 steps back before you're able to take a few steps forward. But right now, he's back on the Tessier monoski. It's really giving him a good advantage, and he's able to stay consistent with it because last year he skied on the Tessier almost all year. And you can watch him right here, how he's able to cut off line, and he's really taking all those gates either off of his feet or right off the base of his chest, and he's just staying right on the edge of control. Oh!
Well, the edge of control is fraught with problems, and out of control goes Sikorsky. Pedersen might get his wish here. 141.18. He's really putting it in here because he knows he's got to try and make something up. Oh,
just
my word.
Barely.
My word. 5/100ths of a second. I'm sure there's a little wry smile in there, but he'll know that could have been so much quicker.
Oh, man, he was putting one down, really sending it. But again, the edge of control. Sometimes you're just not able to hang on, but you know, that time he got really, really lucky, and he was still able to stay in podium standings. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Jeroen's able to put it down right here, especially with these conditions and the difficulties. I think if anyone can really put down a burner right here, it's going to be Jeroen.
Yeah, he has annihilated many a course this season. You've seen some athletes, and you've experienced it yourself, where they're just unable to get through parts of a course.
Oh!
And he seems to manage it, and just as I'm saying that, Jeroen gives us a bit of a side swipe, and out he goes. So the race leader is now Igor Sikorsky. I wouldn't expect that to change with the last 3. Again, Pedersen picking up points eventually where he needed them, and the overall swings back towards him.
Swings back towards Pedersen, and you can see right here, just hitting that rut and pressuring underneath the gate, throws Jeroen out and up, and he's just not able to recover. He did the right thing that you need to do right there. He threw his body down the hill, put his shoulders in the fall line, but just wasn't able to get that ski under him quick enough.
Despondent at the side, or at least they'll get a slope side view of Floris Meyer going through the course, so he can at least cheer on one of his teammates. We talked about this earlier on, Floris being some 10 years more senior than the rest, despite being probably the newest to the sport of the 3 of them. And we've seen Floris over the last few weeks starting to finish more races. Is he taking a different approach, perhaps?
I think he's trying to be more consistent and build up from there. I think he's realized throughout his time that a lot of times just finishing and then taking moments where you know you can go faster and taking advantage of those will really help to keep you in that top 10 area or that top 7 area, and that'll keep him heading towards the Paralympics. And I know he really wants to compete in this next Paralympics since he didn't get his chance in Pyeongchang.
Talk to me about the monoski from top to bottom. What are we looking at here?
All right, so when you're looking at the body position, you can see the athlete throw their body down the hill and create pressure, usually in the core. Unfortunately, Floris goes out, so we'll be able to give you an example in this with this next athlete.
Disappointment for Meyer. We were just talking about the fact that he is somebody that is starting to finish more races. I'm like a jinx. Give me a microphone and I will jinx your race.
Oh, it's the microphone jinx,
It's
man.
always the way, isn't it? The commentator curse strikes again. The youngster down there enjoying it. This is Lou Brasdagan, again brand new on the circuit. Has only been around since La Molina. And well, he's still in the course.
He still made it. He still made it. He just has to have his bindings go on the right side of the panel, so he's still in it and he's still going for it. And right here I can explain, you can see the body position and how you want to get in that proper body position. You want to, at the top of the hill, before you hit the gate, get your body down the hill, and you want to increase the pressure using your core, and then that sends it into your hip, creating an angle, adding pressure into your shock, and then your shock compresses your ski, which helps you to turn and move. So a lot of the times here you can see athletes, they don't quite get the body position and they don't quite make everything move with their shoulders, their head, their body to create the right pressure in their hips and the ski, and then that inhibits them from creating a turn fast enough or as quickly as they really want to. So that's where the core really helps come in with these competitors. So the more of a core you have, in theory, the faster you can go and the faster you can stay ahead of these gates, and that's where the factors really come into play.
Closer look at ski from a man who knows all about them, Paralympic champion Andrew Kirker, alongside being commentary throughout the course of the day. Lou Brasdagan gets to the line, 2 minutes .60. That puts him up to 11th place currently, with Rene Di Silvestro still to come.
And Rene might have just had the fastest time in the first course if it wasn't for that mess up that he had right there at the very last gate, which is very unfortunate. I was talking to him about it just moments ago, and he was saying it was really unfortunate, but he wasn't looking forward to this rough course and going last, but he was looking forward to moving up a few spots. He still said he was going to try to put down the fastest time that he could, and I have faith that he will definitely do that. Again, a very fun racer to watch compete. He goes as fast as he can, as often as he can, sometimes just right on the edge of control. And last run, I think he might have had the fastest run if it wasn't for that one last gate.
And it was a matter of about a meter. If he'd just slid a little bit more, he would have actually hit the line and been even closer here. Now, he closed the gap to 11.77. That's how good that run is.
Yep.
9:38 in the end. He got inside 10 seconds. That is a fantastic run. He went 59.45. He was over 10 seconds back. So he's done very, very well in that run. And again, that one mistake towards the end, very, very costly. Well, Igor Sikorsky has benefited from Jeroen Kampschur's mishap. Taiki Mori and Jesper Pedersen, and everybody behind that also benefits as well. Rene Del Silvestro up into 8th position by the time he finished his race, despite starting in 13th. So a good run from the Italian. So we're going to go down and speak to the race winner in just a couple of moments. There's the 2 DNFs for the Dutch team. Here's De Langen, can take pride in finishing for the Dutch. Let's go and hear from the race winner. He's with Stephen Jameson.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Down at the finish line, and what a dramatic finish it was in that race. Igor Sikorsky is our winner. Igor, you did it the hard way, but you got the win eventually. How do you feel?
Yeah, that was really hard. I'm happy because this is my first win in this season in World Cup, so I'm really happy.
And it's your first win, as you say, since Zagreb last year. It's been a little while since we've seen you on the top of the podium, which is really nice to see. And in terms of this season, I know you've been working on some new things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have many different problems in this season, but now I think I'm slowly back on the course.
That's what we like to hear. Great to see you on top of the podium once again. Alan, Andrew, back to you.
Thank you very much to Stephen Jameson. a much improved Igor Sikorsky.
Yes, and you know, Igor, just very consistent, very fast racer. You can see right there, he had that big mess up, cost him probably a couple seconds, but he was still able to keep his speed consistent. And Igor, you know, even in the summertime, he's always cross-training. He is an amazing competitor, especially on the wakeboard, staying very, very fast, doing all kinds of fun tricks. Very fun person to follow on Instagram or really any of the social media pages, because he really puts himself out there and he really goes for it, not just with skiing, but also with the wakeboarding and doing tricks and having all kinds of fun, and I think that gives him a good advantage when it comes into here, especially with recoveries like that.
Well, the end of day one, the penultimate day of the entire season of the World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup. The end is nigh. Make sure you join us for the final day's action tomorrow. We'll figure out who all of the World Cup Globe winners are. We might have a steer on the overall winners by the time you join us as well. From the beautiful Morzine, from myself and Andrew Kirker, join us at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning for race start. See you then.